Green space across the street. They're tired after a long day of travel. The sugar fix back in Lawrence didn't help, but they continue to plod along as we see signage that remind us of our beloved Graceland University.
But they had to go one up on Graceland and put in more than one block.
They did.
And the college newspaper is taking place. This building was part of the farm. It was brick stores.
Well, it's Monday. This is the tour group that's been hosting us this last week. Today is Monday. And the weather has turned on us. We've had good weather up until today.
It's still going to be a great day.
It's still going to be a great day.
Yeah,
This is the weather today in Dunedin. This is the street. Doesn't look all that. Oh, it's Labor Day. It is Labor Day in Dunedin. Well, all of New Zealand. We've had a good night, good breakfast. The rooms are a tad smaller. You have to figure out how to make your sink drain. I enjoyed the shower setup too, where you can, yeah. Nick Hardwick has died.
yeah. Nick was a
Nick
great guy.
Hardwick, he passed.
We'll miss Nick. We'll miss Nick.
Yeah, Nick Hardwick died just 2 days ago. We're still going to have to give you the mic to let you bring us up to speed on your connection, the Scottish history, the heritage.
Oh, he's found the Scottish store here downtown.
Yeah, there's one down by the Octagon.
Well, I want to hear more about this.
Yeah, there's Scots all over the place.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, saw numerous references
And
to
I married
Sinclair.
one of them.
Yeah,
Okay, so we're getting ready to board. Here are the good friends now. There's Elaine Klisch, and I'm sorry, that's not Elaine. That's Elaine Avery.
Yeah, hi.
And this would be Elsie. This would be Mr. Mel Crowley. Somebody in there waving. What are you guys doing? Look at this. They're not even with our group. Look at him in the flip-flops. I like it. Australian all the way. New Zealander. This is Otago High School. Just an idea of what a high school looks like here. This is a shot of the group before the accident.
During the winter time, and this is part of the green belt that circulates within us right through this upper reaches of Dunedin city itself. The hoops that you see directly ahead, and they'll come into view, and we'll see the bits and pieces of them as we move around the city, is actually the only covered stadium in New Zealand, and it was built primarily in stone. clear as the day gets older. And hopefully we're going to see some sun later on around midday, or certainly this afternoon. It's supposed to blow through pretty quick. Whereas Christchurch is flat, mostly flat and ideal for cycling, Dunedin is the totally opposite, built on the hills. And when the first explorers came through here, and the first residents moved into the area, there was not a lot of flat land. So much of the area has been reclaimed. The town, whereas around 20 to 22,000 students come in each year, and the last of the exams take place about mid-November, and so basically the university has finished its academic year and starts up again at sort of mid-February era, or around about that. The Hocken Library here houses historic documents from New Zealand government circles and other important documents. And if you're coming to a sporting function here, whether it be rugby or a concert, this is where you'd come to the Dunedin Stadium. Often called the coat hanger because of its shape, the roof holding up the roof. And quite a lot of controversy when it was being built, primarily because of the cost, but has since proven to be very, very successful, and as many of the world famous artists have performed here. The likes of Elton John, and well, there's just so many that I just can't remember them all at all. That's the inside of the stadium in there. Natural grass growing inside, and that was one of the fears, that the grass wouldn't grow inside. And so it's a clear roof, and they were very, very pleased and delighted when after that sowing the grass down. It's reinforced with a nylon base as well to make it more resilient, to stop it poor charmers and people who are busting train to wherever they're going through here. Just another view there of the stadium. One of our major exports also is logs. This is the log boat is waiting there now, loaded. Well, most of those trees there will be about 15 to 20 years old, Pinus radiata, ready to be shipped out. By and large, the majority of those logs would have been trucked in as opposed to being railed in, because of the handling that would be needed to get them off the truck and onto the rail, and it's just as quick to bring them direct by road, which again causes a lot of controversy as well. So there's a look back up and towards where Dunedin's residents are. You can just make out the Otago Boys High School disappearing under the trees, coming into view there now in the middle. Some of the natural construction of the railway station. I'm not quite sure what they are doing in there, but suffice to say that you can get inside. This is Anzac Square here. The High Court and Supreme Court sit. Again, the white stone, Omaru stone. see how it can be carved into these intricate patterns. And of course, where you've got a court, you've also got need accommodation, and this is the Law Courts Hotel. The other reason I came up this way was to show you First Church. This is the First Presbyterian Church of Otago. And I've got a few minutes if some would like to walk in there. Well, here's the main religion in Otago was Presbyterian from Scotland. Whereas ChristChurch is mainly Anglican from England. So it's just the two nationalities that settled in the area.
Go ahead, guys. Evelyn and Terry have paired up. Ulster that seems to be waiting to really emerge for the springtime, which we are in that time of year. This is the Olveston house.
Billiards is bigger.
Yes. This is the Olveston house. Pathway that you're not supposed to take. I did it. The pathway around the Olveston house. Only the chosen, the few, are allowed to take this stroll. But I'm doing it for my Graceland video. Oh my, what a shot there. Over the hedge grove. It is pretty back here. You can tell it's beautiful. Beautiful. They've really worked on it. And there's our bus. We're at the railway station that I was told we would not be able to see. We wanted it on the tour, and now, because of Norman, we're seeing it. Notice that Raleigh and Beth are the first off the bus. She cannot get enough. I imagine that there are tulips or some kind of bulbs in this dirt area when it's starting to notice a little bit of fatigue setting in. Myra had a blister on her hand from her cane. It is starting to heal, I hope.
Yes.
Here comes Larry Hart and Catherine. Here's Mike Curtis and his beloved Deb. They're having a good time, I think. Mel and Deb Crowley. There's Diana McAllister. There's Dr. Ron Carter and Sandra Davidson. Holly and...
What I don't like about them is because
Yeah, I see that. Strong. Imagine you'd step up to this window or these windows and get your tickets. The tracks that service the Dunedin railway station. Refurbishing, renovations underway. Fred Elliott and Myra enjoying it. What do you think of this community?
I like it. I'm impressed with Edis in general.
We had our first incident here on the trip. This gentleman misplaced his wife. You want to tell us what happened, Jack? We were at the railway station, right?
Yes, and I went to look at the arts.
And I turned around and she disappeared.
And then, without wanting her at your side, you walked all the way from over here to over here. Is that correct?
That's right. I thought I had been lollygagging too long, and she went on without me. So I figured I'd better hurry up and catch up with her.
But Terry came and fetched me.
Can you reenact the kiss that you just established? I love it. I love it. Now go in there and have some fun. This is the Otago Settlers Museum. I'm not hungry. The Otago Settlers Museum is outstanding. Don't have enough video to shoot everything we've seen, but it's been remarkable. Just a glimpse of what it's like inside this. Just a glimpse of what we've seen here. Just so much to see. So much to see, and really not enough time. But this is a glimpse of, you know, just what we've seen here today. It's amazing. Typewriters and word machines and Mac computer. There's the Mac computer that I had all those years ago, and Terry was talking about this Selectric IBM typewriter that Bob, her husband, did his master's dissertation on, his major paper. Look at this camper. I mean, it's amazing. What is that, a stove? Larry Hart says that's a Buick. And then this wall here. Young man. Fire truck. love the display with all the old TV and video equipment. Old television. There's a network TV camera there. I know that. Video projector. Of course, when I started in television, we had that we carried around with us to record the big tapes. I remember that. The old components. Old phonograph there. The LP. Old radio. I don't know what this room is, but it's pretty special. A lot of history, a lot of people. Unbelievable. This is the, well, it's the housing. This is called the Matakuuka. And this is what they would stay in. Matauruka. The Maori people and the other tribesmen would live in this kind of a home. Look at the little hearth in there. You needed to keep that heat going, man. Didn't you? I was told and I read that every year you had to kind of reestablish the roof. The frame would be the same because the weather and the sun, you'd have to replenish the needles. Guess it makes sense.
I'm hoping you'll sing along. You guys want something like this. Thank you for singing with us. I was a broken monkey for a ride in the air. The buzzer thought that everything was on the square. The monkey tried to buzzer, throw the ride off his back. The monkey turned around and said, now listen, Jack. Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and stay right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top. Ain't no use in jiving. What's the use in jiving? Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top. The monkey told the buzzard, you are choking me. Release your hold and I will set you free. The buzzard looked the monkey right dead in the eye and said, your story's so touching, but it sounds like a lie. Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and stay right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top.
faster and shoots its seeds further. So it has become a huge problem that has to be sprayed, usually by helicopter, to control it.
We are taking the option to Otago Peninsula to see the wildlife. We have Oscar and Neil with us. Neil is the owner, very articulate. You can tell that he has spent a career building documentaries. It's kind of a drizzly kind of a day. We're hoping that it changes a bit, but if not, the wildlife will provide the entertainment. Oscar attended Otago University. He hasn't graduated yet, and we're worried about his grades.
I'm not.
So those of you familiar with California trees might recognize the Monterey cypress, we call macrocarpa, here on our left, native to the Monterey Peninsula. So it's very salt tolerant, so really good as wind breaks up here. And also Monterey pine, so the plantations or woodlots are what we call Pinus radiata, Monterey pine, and that's the main timber used in New Zealand now, because we've cut so much of the native timbers that we now have to use the softer wood, chemically treated for our houses, and it's also a big export, Pinus radiata, and there's some huge forestry areas around New Zealand. So this is just mixed farming up here now, sheep and some beef cattle. The early settlers had really mixed livestock, very small farms, only 50 acres, so basically subsistence, were better than they had left in the Scottish Highlands, where they were probably tenant farmers. Lots of different kinds of volcanic rock over those 7 million years of volcanism. And just here is the only non-volcanic rock, a little seam of limestone. And the early European settlers used it here on our right as a kiln that they burned the lime in, built in 1874. And they burned the lime at 800 degrees Celsius to convert it chemically. I always forget which way around, from calcium carbonate north. So is it tomorrow you're driving north?
Yes.
Yeah, so about an hour and a half out of here is a town called Omaru, and it has huge limestone deposits with great fossils, most notably early dolphins and whale skeletons.
Slow down for ducks.
Yeah, yeah, they have them there. So the sheep out here are not as numerous as you'll see on other more fertile country, and these sheep here are mostly lowland English breeds of sheep.
I got a nice.
So they have,
How big is the protected area?
it's not very big. You can see at the top of the hill here, they've planted some new shrubs and put a fence just around that. So more and more farmers are doing that now.
I always
on their farms.
Would that be a mother and father? The one guy's got the black head and the lady's got the white?
Yeah, female with the white head.
I'm getting good filmage here. I always wondered why I would have to have a 20-time zoom. Well, it's working pretty effectively today.
In their first year, all of the ducklings, once they lose their little stripy down, become dark coloured. So like a male, but then after their first year, they females get the white head.
What's the chirping we hear?
That's the little pied stilt.
That's him right here. Oh my, he's got skinny legs.
The ones that are they sitting on eggs? Or?
That one out behind us is a few little welcome swallows darting around. You guys will be used to swift swallows. Just over the water here, taking insects.
Nesting.
also arrived from Australia in the 50s, from the north, and have made their way south. The birds.
Do you have mosquitoes here?
We do. It's not a big problem. The sandflies that you found in Milford were our biggest biting nuisance.
They didn't seem to bother us.
No, in the north, in the winter there are less. Or
This is the Otago Peninsula option. These people want to get closer to nature. The tour group has provided very, very significant rain jackets. Ron Weberg did not need one. He is all set. We're going to go out here to the beach. There's a path to it. And we're going to go walking up there. Beautiful country anywhere you go. You see it. It's just phenomenal. Just phenomenal.
So if we need to break into two groups, maybe
It's not going to work. This is not going to work. I don't see Myra doing that.
A few hundred on the south side.
Allen's Beach. That's where we're going. The Graceland group prods along like the early settlers of this great country in America. Beautiful.
the Otago Peninsula, Cape Saunders. There's a lighthouse out there, and this little island, Wharikakahu, has nesting seabirds on it, including the indigenous cormorant, unique to this part of the coast, the Otago shag. A couple of black oyster catchers there, so the further south you come, the more black ones you find. We're just going to go a little ways along here, whilst just having a look.
Looks like we're striking out today. Seem to see a sea lion seal. Oh well. Well, we didn't see any sea lions, but good memories. Cold wind reminded us of the Midwest winter that's coming upon us. Seeing Myra put her feet get wet in the Pacific Ocean, it was worth it. It was worth it. The countryside of New Zealand. There's Myra right now with her beloved husband, Fred. They've been married over 50 years.
Cast and cement, the only concrete meeting house in New Zealand, because it was rebuilt in the 1940s when the men were at World War II and there was a shortage of timber, and so they cast the panels from the meeting house in the museum. It's ancestral to this tribe. It did come from the North Island, the meeting house, but that's where the latest tribe came from. There were three kind of separate tribes came here over the hundreds of years, and then the new invaders would fight and then intermarry with the first tribe.
Wait, you started too soon. We're off the bus. Yeah.
It was a process of a number of tribes coming down from the north and fighting and intermarrying with the existing tribe. So the folks here claim descendant from, or whakapapa they call it, from 3 or 4 iwi or tribes before them. And they've been on the land since 1200 AD roughly. Beautiful shellfish, you know what abalone are like. And New Zealand has the most colourful abalone. A lot of places it's like mother of pearl. This is faded, but it's really brilliant. It's almost like opal, and they do make jewellery from it. These represent food storehouses, pataka. And they would put their food storehouses on thin poles to stop rats from getting at the food. The Maori people brought rats and dogs with them from Polynesia. The dogs never survived, and the rats, the Maori or the Polynesian rats, have largely been supplanted by Norway rats and ship's rats out of linen. And they made everything from this: their clothing, their twine, their fishing lines, their nets, their mats for their floors, the wall hangings, backpacks, you name it. Eel traps were bound together with flax, so this was a fantastic resource. And early European sailors made big ropes. So early Maori traded flax and potatoes and pigs that the Europeans had brought, and Maori chiefs had ships and they were trading to Sydney. So early years of European colonisation depended on Maori, and the Maori were doing really well until Europeans got a bit greedy and started taking land. South Island is Ngāi Tahu, and they have made multi-billion-dollar business out of quite a small treaty settlement. And they have fisheries, forestries, farms, tourism businesses, investments, and so the food hall you see in a minute was built with some of that proceeds. So the people are benefiting. Still a lot of challenges. Maori mortality is higher, life expectancy is lower, you name it. All the social problems you could expect from having been. Stone here is jade, pounamu or greenstone, and this is an incredibly hard stone that the Maori could use to make tools and weapons as sharp as iron. So it's as hard as iron. It would take a beautiful edge so they could make chisels, adzes, weapons, and so they kind of had the advantage of a stone that was almost metallic in its properties.
It doesn't look very green. It doesn't look very green.
No, it's not as bright a green as the Asian jade or the British Columbian jade. It tends to be darker. There is quite a wide variety of colours. You see that one is paler.
And it looks prettier when you polish it.
I'm sure
And
it does.
it's found pretty much on the west coast and just near Queenstown. And so this iwi had the rights to all of that. They were the owners. They traded that to the northern tribes. In return, they would get back sweet potatoes, which were brought from Polynesia, but wouldn't grow down here because it's too cold. So northern tribes had the potatoes, southern tribes had this jade. So this little church was also cast in cement. It's beautifully decorated inside, kind of in a Maori style. It's called a whare nui. Whare is house and nui is big. That's always the centre of the Maori cultural life. So this is like the town hall. And you can see the cement panels. So this figure at the top represents their ancestor that the tribe is named from. His name was Tahu Potiki, and Ngāi Tahu just means the people of Tahu. And the figures usually are pretty much always represents the ancestry of the tribe. The Maori people had no written language, but they were fantastic orators. And these carvings here and inside would act as sort of aides memoire for their oratory. And welcomes, discussions, meetings would follow quite a pattern. And here, every couple of years, our national day is called the Waitangi Day, from the signing of the Treaty of Waitangi, 1840. And the whole community is welcome. And the iwi here have a team, home team, welcoming the visitors. and there's a protocol to be followed with a call, a ceremonial call, speeches, songs, dances or haka, back and forth, and that ritual is always really important. Double hull canoe called takatimu. So right beside Tianau Lake there's a range of mountains called the Takatimus, and that in their mythology is the canoe. But they have hui, which means like a conference, and that might be Māori matters, or it might be community matters, and really well integrated. They also have kind of cultural sessions for government departments like police, or customs, schools come here, so there's a whole range of activities. Language being taught, there's a little kindergarten up the back, and kids can have full immersion in Māori language. Kids weren't allowed to speak it in schools, it wasn't taught.
The weather is starting to lighten up for us. Kathy Hart has not said a whole lot on this trip. It's because she hasn't had a chance to play the piano.
She did. I did.
Beautiful, beautiful scenery. Myra, what do you think? Your feet are still wet.
Yes, my feet are still wet, but it's not uncomfortable. It's the detail that I just find so interesting in those carvings.
Yes, ma'am. About this place. I hope Elsie's coming. Elaine. Windy is all heck up here. Again.
Red-billed gulls. It's the biggest colony in the world of this species, and it's the only one in New Zealand that's increasing in number. So there's about 3,000 birds here building their nests at the moment, making the best of the place.
They seem rather aggressive.
They can be very aggressive, so don't get close to them.
They can be very aggressive. Those of you who are trying to eat sandwiches, don't do it. Look at all these things. This is the red, what do you call it? Red-billed gulls. I don't like them.
Just been into the cafe. We're going to close soon. If you want coffee.
They came just a few seconds just over the rise here, so hopefully they'll come back around.
You're just seeing one?
I saw two at the same time, but
what should we be looking for? How do we identify it?
They're bigger
they
than
look
these.
like a plane compared to the gulls. Might be one of the wings. 3.5 meters long at the longest.
Why do I need to be impressed about seeing an albatross? Aren't they all over the world?
Big. There's one there.
Look, there.
Where?
Look how much bigger it is than all the gulls, just hovering sort of above the fence there.
Oh my God.
So it's one of the largest flying birds in the world.
Now you're talking.
Another one to the left.
I've got him, Oscar. He's in my viewfinder.
They sure are short.
Well, it might be taller than it looks. It's over the crest of the hill.
Very good, Larry. Very good.
The oldest lighthouse in South Island.
I'm just full of
It's the oldest lighthouse of South Island.
No, he's behind this thing.
I got him. I got the albatross. He's not a very nice bird.
There it is. Yeah.
He's rather territorial.
Way back, way over there now.
And Oscar says that you can buy one at the local market. This is beautiful. Can you believe we're here?
Look at that squirrely kelp down there at the bottom.
What is that? Isn't that beautiful?
He's not giving me much information.
Get on my phone.
Oh, I haven't been this cold since last winter. Here's Mike and Deb. This is a beautiful area, though.
so funny.
Anybody else staying with the buses over there?
Mom.
No, we don't.
You're talking awfully loud,
Windows
sir.
are only open about this far.
So currently these are not co-owned pieces of property?
No. So the last the last part of the peninsula was once part of the same farm. However, it was my boss's grandparents that had that whole property, and when they passed, it was split between two brothers.
That's not uncommon.
Yeah.
That's how real estates disappear.
Mobile in through the bush, one in through the bush.
Who are they?
That's Paula.
Oh, she has
a few.
Yeah, just a
How do you like this road?
It's one way, right?
No, this is two-way, but this is why I have a radio. That's why she waited for me there.
road's better than to our lake, for sure.
These guys didn't go on the boat.
Oh, they didn't go on the boat. Now you tell me.
No, we've been on a couple of boats.
There wasn't really much of a thought about eco-sourcing. There are some North Island species, there are some Chatham Island species, but the majority of the species here are from the local area. Tione Roa, and a little bay on the other side is called Tione Poto. Our literal translation is big sand and little sand. Again, points to creativity. However, this hillside directly opposite us, this point here is where it leaves, where your spirit will leave. So this is called Tiaka Tapu. So it's a really, really important place for local Māori. And I like to acknowledge it. It might be a seal.
I'll tell you what, it's been a very interesting day. They aren't very big. Penguin houses.
Oh, I thought they were triangular.
Well, no, that's the one that they man-made. But these look like, these are man-made too. I'm not... Look at this scenery. Yes, you just can't get... Oh my goodness. Yeah, but you don't have animals like this, hon. He's tired.
Come on. They're effectively right between two breeding areas. So the area right out on the tidal head on the end of the peninsula, and one just on the breeding males. They don't particularly like the competition with young boys, and effectively this is one of the bachelors' areas. Yeah. So all of the seals that we see here are likely to be young males. We'll try our luck and see what we can
What
find.
is that vertical stone down there? Pointed on top.
That is a fence post.
Where's the rest of the fence?
There's another fence post down there. So come on down. We'll try and leave that little guy be.
Ron Carter. What is that thing sticking up? It's a fence post. This is what it was like. The trip of a lifetime. Gracelanders going down under, looking for fairy penguins.
These are yellow.
And
These are the yellow penguins.
thank you, Evelyn.
Adrian will find one for us.
His name's Adrian?
Yeah.
The little blue penguins live here.
That's called bull kelp.
Bull kelp.
Yeah, Yeah, and it's attached to the rocks on the intertidal zone, and in the right conditions it can grow up to about 1 metre a day. It's about 2.5 feet or so a day. And then sprinkle that on my food. A bit of a salt seasoning, the extra kelp. Beaten it up to
There is one in there. There's one in there, but you can't see him.
The stuff down there.
Get a little closer.
No, get down in there.
The closer you get, the more they don't want to come out. Put your light on.
Yeah.
He popped his head.
I don't know. You can just
That's the best
barely
we're
see
going to
it.
do.
I think there's a bunch of birds around it.
No, I see it.
I can see it. I can see it.
He's being very still.
Water goes out. You see his whole body. On your mark. He's sitting there surfing, having a blast. There he is, coming ahead.
Oh, there he jumped up a little bit.
I got him. Nobody's going to watch this on YouTube. What a day. Beautiful stop, the Moeraki Boulders. This is the reception area that we all were able to get ice cream and other goodies. Can't believe this crew is hungry already. This is the scene off the porch, the viewing porch for the Moeraki Boulders. We did get some drone shots, but we thought we'd enhance it with this. Zoom in on the boulders.
Looks like they were all built by the same builder.
The same stone.
Different builders, but certainly the same material.
Oh, look at that.
And what's this date back to again?
Sorry?
When were these built?
It's got the early 1900s, late 1800s, 1900s.
Spelled with a Y, no less.
Yeah, correct. Spelled correctly.
Yes, yes.
And again, the money that was coming in
Send it to you later.
Oh, thank you.
was from gold, from the farming, from the wool.
Yeah, send me that too.
But what I really want you to have a look at is coming up on his side here. Yeah, the Lambert Brothers tea importers is the Opera House, and it's just been a lot of money has just been spent on restoring it.
On the right or left?
On the left, just coming in on our left-hand side now. The district court there, but it's the Romanesque columns.
The store is mini. Yeah. How about that? No. But it's closed.
And then we get into the more modern part of town. But Omaru is a service town for the local farming community as well as the townspeople. And again, it's one of these situations where if the farmers are doing well, the town's doing well. When the farmer puts away the checkbook and is not buying goods and services, the towns suffer. And that's just the way it's been right from day one, because of the dependence upon agriculture that New Zealand is so dependent upon. Yes, I'll do a left turn here and go and show you the Basilica here in Omaru. And it really is a magnificent building.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Not bad for a little country town, is it? For a building, for a church of that size. And also the accommodation there to the right. We're only here for a couple of years. So the school here on the right hand side is Waitaki Girls High.
Waitaki.
And there's also a Waitaki Boys High, as the name which is Jest. They're a single sex school, but again made out of, or built out of Omaru stone in the main. But two prestigious schools, along with a third, St. Kevin's College, which is a Catholic school, and all have accommodation go into those schools. Of course, if you look parks and reserves, and this is very typical here on our left-hand side. Just a small park, open space area. The uniqueness of this river is the many streams. Not just released water as well, it's just receding back. But the many streams making it a braided river system, and this is quite popular on the east coast here of the South Island. Many of these larger rivers are a braided system, which is great habitat for the birds that nest on those islands or on the in the eddies.
We are going through the community of Timaru as we head north along the east coast to ChristChurch. Timaru.
Secured. He's holding it with his hand and driving it with his left hand.
Why is he doing this?
Oh, I don't know. It's the Tongan flag.
What flag is it?
From Tonga.
Tonga.
Here's the Basilica coming up here on our left hand side, and it's also just gone through a restoration process. I think this is the first time I've seen it without scaffolding around it for a long time, probably several years. Beautiful building. In the 1800s and the mid 1800s and onwards. Also a very strong trades training program that encourages people into the trades, the plumbers, builders, carpenters, mechanics. here to our right hand side also has a very fine rose garden. But for years now, since the 60s, they've had a festival, a carnival at Christmas time. Very, very safe beach for all people really. Shoals out quite nicely.
Kind of does.
See any cheeseheads?
I don't see any.
There's no one.
Just got that feel to it. This is ChristChurch.
We're just going to go straight to the restaurant. It'll take us about another 10 minutes, I would think, before we get there, because we're going to get into heavy traffic. What's going on? People right across the board to move.
We have arrived in ChristChurch. Look at the architecture across the street from our restaurant. This is Fiddlesticks, where we're having lunch. It's been a long morning on the bus. Bunch of hungry people, I think. This was the scene inside the restaurant. There's Norm, our bus driver. He's not our bus driver, he's more than that. He's our travel consultant.
I've got the free lemonades. All kinds of seeds in it. So, yeah, the second year.
Typical street in Christchurch, New Zealand.